special family, welcome back to another video. Here is part 2 of yesterday's video, and it's the AITA for getting my job back to get out of taking care of my husband's autistic niece. So this was part 1 from yesterday, and today we're looking at part 2. She had an update. Let's see what the update is. Lot of people were messaging me for an update, so here goes. I wish I could say things got better. My husband took a few days off to interview special needs nannies, caretakers. He ended up finding a good and experienced person to take on the job. He hired her for 9 to 6 during weekdays. One day she ended up saying she cannot make it for a couple of days due to an emergency. My husband had a meeting he couldn't miss and asked me to look after his niece for the day. I refused, and he took my car keys while I was getting ready and left before I noticed so that I could not go to work. What? He took your car keys? This is childish. I grew up with a narcissist, gaslighting father who did stuff like this all the time. I told him to come back in an hour or I would call CPS, and once they get here, I will call a cab and get to work. He ended up driving back, and this turned into a big fight, and I told him that if he does it again, I will walk out and never look back. He apologized and said that he was just desperate. Yeah, this is too much for these two people to handle. I think they're in over their head. The worst happened 2 weeks ago. I needed to travel for a couple of weeks for work, and I could not find my passport. What the heck? I am a very organized person, and I knew that I did not misplace it. I ended up calling the non-emergency helpline. They ransacked the house and found the passport hidden in his gym bag. It is a crime to steal passports, and they asked me if I wanted to press charges. I said no. Another fight. He told me that he needed me at home that weekend due to a social welfare visit, and he knew that I would not stay even if he had asked me. I kicked them both out of my house, and I told him I would call the police if he came near me again. My house is a premarital asset, thank God for that. I told him that I would be filing for a divorce. The welfare visit turned into shit-ish, as neither of them were living there when the worker showed up, and the social worker also knew about the recent call to the non-emergency helpline. So in all, she was not impressed with our BS. This is getting worse by the second. Like, what in the world? He came by 2 days ago. He told me that he ended up moving in with his parents. They only live in a small 2-bedroom apartment that doesn't qualify according to the welfare forms. He ended up asking me for another chance. He asked if I would consider letting him and niece stay until they figured it out, or she would have to go to state's care. He told me that there is no way he could afford rent and a career and begged me. I told him that I could never forgive what he did. He knew my past with my father, and he still went ahead and did it. He suggested they could move in. I suggested they could move in, and we can work on this as a couple in couples counseling. I told him that I could never trust them again and that it was over. He asked me if he could get his parents to take in the niece or even relinquish her care to the state if I would give him another chance. I think months of worth of anger burst that day. I told him that even though it might appear as if the problem between us is the niece, it was actually him. He didn't ask me before taking her in. Oh, he didn't ask her. Oh, snap. He did nothing to help. He waved my concerns away whenever I felt burnt out. He took a responsibility without consulting me and dumped everything on me. Yeah, he did. He chose to take my keys. That was low. He chose to hide my passport. I told him things may have been different. Him, niece, and I may have adapted and become a family if he didn't make the wrong choice at my expense at every turn. I told him to get out of my house. It was over, and I never want to see any of them ever again. I still don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know if what I'm doing is right or wrong. I know people wanted some sort of happy ending, but it is what it is. I still have not started the divorce proceedings yet, but I will soon. For now, I'm taking a break as it had been a very emotional and draining couple of weeks. Poor woman. Oh my goodness. I feel sorry for her. Let's check the comments and see what people have to say. Sorry to say this, but this actually is the happy ending I was looking for. He treated you like absolute ish, and the incidents with the keys and the passport are the cherry on top of the ish cupcake. I'm so glad you got out. It's crazy to me. He just took her in without even discussing it first and then expected you to take care of her. Yeah, I thought he did discuss it. You two were never going to be able to have children anymore. Imagine her throwing a plate at you when you were pregnant, or how she would melt down around a crying newborn. Then he doubled down and hid your keys and passport. Just wow. He knew her sister had to quit her job to be a full time caregiver, and yet he expected to be able to take care of her and still work. I'm doubtful. Sounds like he's fully intended you to pick up the slack all along. It's a sad situation, and I'm sympathetic to him for trying to do the right thing. But sometimes a group home is the best place for a severely disabled person. They get round the clock attention for someone trained to handle their needs, and family can still visit often. It's too bad your marriage had to be sacrificed to come to this conclusion. Wow. I'm gonna do one more comment and then I'm gonna leave it to you guys to comment down below so I know how you feel about this situation. What if this happened to you? How would you handle this? Because this lady, it's like she's going from bad to worse. Hey, original poster, I can get that it doesn't feel like a happy ending, but you are heading in the right direction. You saw and experienced just what the rest of your life would entail if you stayed in that abusive relationship. You did what was best for you and your mental health. And once you have time to grow and heal and gain some distance from this whole mess, I'm sure you'll recognize that you made the right decision. This is your life, and only you can decide what you do with it. It is up to you to find your own happiness, and nobody has the right to take that away from you and burden you with their own responsibilities. Everyone who said on your previous post were not seeing the details of his behavior. People focus on the autistic needs. He was showing the warning signs of someone extremely controlling and manipulative. You caught them early. Of course you were overwhelmed and frustrated. You don't have the training and specialized experience. You were thrust into the situation due to seemingly intentional dismissal of you. Of course you will have an emotional reaction to having things thrown at you, especially as a person who endured trauma growing up. His niece is autistic and it isn't her fault, but it's absolutely reasonable that you are not equipped to be in that role. You're absolutely not an a-hole and on spot about his abuse. What he did is absolutely unforgivable. Good for you. All right, guys, that's the end of it. I would like to see you guys' comment below. What if you were put in this situation? How would you handle this? All right, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.